Hi, I'm Gil Vincent, a director from our ISV acceleration team, and joining me is Naveen Gopala, Director of Engineering. Today, we're excited to dive deep into some of the newest and most exciting beta additions to the Docusign platform and the opportunities they open for developers like you. We'll take a detailed look at our new automation tool, Maestro, and how to use it, including use cases and an API demonstration. Then we'll dive into Navigator, our AI-powered repository for agreements, to get a close look at what it can do, the use cases, and give you a demo to see the API in action. Finally, we will tee you up for next steps, including an invitation to compete. How Docusign IAM changes the story. Previously, our story was focused on getting the agreement document finalized and signed. On the other hand, intelligent agreement management is about end-to-end management. With Maestro, you enjoy greater flexibility in the agreement process. Workflows get built in a workflow designer. You can add in pre-agreement steps, agreement actions, and post-agreement steps. And it's all accessible via an API. With Navigator, you gain understanding about what is in your agreements. Navigate your agreements with understanding, unleash the data trapped in those agreements using AI-driven extractions, and then apply filtering. Docusign for Developers is a collection of tools and resources to give you more control over how you integrate the Docusign IAM platform into your own ecosystem. The agreement APIs help you go beyond e-signature to integrate across the entire agreement lifecycle. Today, we're going to zoom in on some of the newest services, they are beta, and how to leverage them via API. With Maestro, you can enjoy greater flexibility to manage your agreements using your own code and less of it, in concert with the Maestro workflow designer. Additionally, Docusign is unlocking the data trapped in agreements, including complete summarizations, abstracted structured data, and natural language querying. With Navigator, you can leverage the structured data to retrieve key agreements and agreement data to empower your business and your customers. Coding agreement processes is difficult. We heard, so we created a no-code, low-code orchestration. Maestro empowers the business process owner with a UI workflow designer. They can add in pre-signing steps, signing actions, and post-signing steps, all without code. The Maestro API gives you the ability to put Maestro to use. Likewise, our early experience with agreement insights drove us to seek a broader solution. Navigator's AI-driven extractions drive stronger understanding of your agreements. The Navigator API gives you the ability to power your ecosystem functions with data previously trapped in agreements. Think about how you can take advantage of a full suite of Docusign capabilities, including web forms, IDV, sending and signing, and data from Navigator. You can access other connected third-party integrations from our App Center in your embedded solution. For example, you can take advantage of connected data verification services to perform real-time lookup of Social Security numbers and bank account info as part of your solution, all powered by Maestro workflows. All these capabilities can be embedded into your solution that you package and sell to your customers. So let's talk about automating workflows easily. So what can I do with Maestro? A lot. Let's visit some compelling opportunities. Add signing features. Add it as an alternative to the Envelope API. Collect user and signer inputs easily. Support features like data verification. Support complex signing flows, including stepwise flows that would be really hard to code, inputs from external systems, incorporate branching logic, and empower user customizations, even of standard workflows. Simplify your code base, all this with just a little bit of code. No need to update code every time you want to support a new feature. The customer builds in a no-code model, you just invoke. So let's take a look at how we use the API to trigger Maestro workflow. I'll pass you over to Naveen so he can demonstrate.
Thanks, Gail. Here we are in the workflow interface. So here you can either create a workflow from scratch or from one of our pre-existing templates to kick the tires. For the sake of this demo, let's look at a workflow already in a draft state. This brings us to the workflow designer. Here, we offer a few options to choose from. Either you can collect data using web forms, send documents for signature, pull down files from a third-party system, and more. Once you have finished creating a workflow, you just have to review and publish. It's as simple as that. Here, for the sake of this demo again, I have a couple of workflows that are already in published status. Now let's go over to Postman. Here we have a few APIs for you to choose from. One, either you can use Workflow API to get all the workflows that are available under your account. And now this gives you a little bit of a high-level information about the workflow itself. But then, if you choose a specific workflow that you want to dig into, you can pass that workflow ID and get a little bit more information about the workflow, like the workflow trigger URL, the payload that you're supposed to be passing as part of the trigger, and then the metadata itself. For this demo, let's take the trigger URL itself. And then as part of the payload, you're supposed to be passing name and email. So we specify the trigger URL. As part of the payload, we specify the name and email and just hit send. And there you go. A new instance has been created. Now, if you go back to the workflow interface, you can see that there's a new instance that was triggered just now. And then you can monitor it here. So coming soon, we're going to be adding a few more APIs to be able to upload documents, edit these agreements, and more. Stay tuned. Back to you, Gil.
Thank you, Naveen. Next, we'll unlock agreement data for your applications. What are some meaningful use cases that you can implement using the Navigator API? Well, let's just see how one might use that data that Navigator releases from your agreements and incorporate it back into your system. The most basic thing is to integrate the agreement data back into your system of record. Going beyond that, we can use filters to power alerts. So now you're taking that data and turning it into actionable information. You can also populate important reporting. This might be recurring reports or even support ad hoc special query reports. You can extract the data and then use a natural language query tool to provide incredibly powerful search capabilities. This graphic extends that concept. It shows you how you could use an OpenAPI definition to power your AI chat interface with Navigator, giving your users a natural language capability. And we're not done. We have some 37 extractions today, with over 100 coming in the near future. We've created 50 standard agreement types, but we know there may be other types that are special to you, so we've added a customizable type, putting the power in your hands. We continue to invest into more AI capabilities. This includes summarizations, more domain extractions, and beyond. Let's take a look at how we use the API to understand the gist of our agreements. Again, I'll pass you over to Naveen so he can demonstrate.
Thanks again, Gil. Here's your Navigator interface. All of your documents that were completed from e-signature or your documents that were uploaded through Upload Center, all of them make their way into Navigator. Once these documents are ingested into Navigator, they go through an AI extraction process where all of the meaningful information that was trapped inside these agreements are now available for you. That includes parties, document type, contract value, effective date, expiration date, and so on and so forth. Now, all of this data that has been extracted now is also available through your APIs. Now let's switch over to Postman. Now we have an endpoint here that's available for you /get agreements, where you can get the same agreements list that you saw earlier as part of this API response. Now this includes the same exact information, the parties that are part of this agreement, effective date, expiration date, and so on and so forth. Now you can apply a few filters to get to the agreements that you're actually looking for, or if you're looking for a specific agreement as well, you could repurpose the same endpoint as well with that agreement ID. There you go. The use cases are endless. Coming soon, we're going to be adding a few more APIs here in the space to be able to upload documents, to edit these agreements, and more. Stay tuned. Back to you, Gil.
Thank you, Naveen. Do you want more? Well, let's start exploring those APIs. Please visit our Developer Center. We have new content and new tools and new resources to get you started with the Maestro and Navigator beta APIs. Use our tools to get that prototype going. It's the best way to discover what's possible. That challenge I mentioned earlier, the virtual hackathon. Sign up and join the fun. There will be prizes, and winners will be presented on stage at Docusign Momentum. Finally, join in on our scavenger hunt happening within our new Docusign developer community.